Alright, here's a 1,950-word continuous article for YouTube storytelling on the Dodge Challenger Hellcat vs BMW M8 and Dodge Charger Hellcat vs BMW M8 domestic vs import drag race theme, written in a cinematic and engaging style that works well for narration. When you talk about pure, unapologetic American muscle, the Dodge Challenger Hellcat and the Dodge Charger Hellcat immediately come to mind. They're the kind of cars that don't just drive down the street. They announce themselves with a thunderous supercharged V8 roar you can hear long before you see them. They're heavy, wide, and built like rolling battering rams, but under that sheet metal lies horsepower numbers that make even exotic car owners raise an eyebrow. On the other hand, across the ocean, Germany has been refining the art of speed for decades, producing machines that blend precision engineering, luxury, and track-focused performance. Among their creations is the BMW M8 competition, a sleek, sophisticated grand tourer with twin-turbo V8 power, advanced all-wheel drive technology, and a level of refinement that makes it as comfortable blasting down the Autobahn at 190 miles per hour as it is cruising to a black tie gala. Put them side by side, and you've got the makings of a classic, domestic versus import, showdown, brute force against precision, raw muscle against technological sophistication. The stage is set on a cool, clear evening at an abandoned airstrip turned drag strip. The faint smell of rubber from previous races lingers in the air, and a crowd has gathered along the sidelines, eager to see which philosophy of performance will come out on top. This isn't just about numbers on paper. It's about pride, heritage, and the thrill of finding out what happens when you pit two worlds against each other in a straight-line brawl. The first matchup is the Dodge Challenger Hellcat versus the BMW M8 competition. The Challenger Hellcat is a beast in every sense. Under the hood lies a 6.2-liter supercharged Hemi V8 that churns out a monstrous 717 horsepower and 656 pound-feet of torque. All of that power is sent to the rear wheels through an 8-speed automatic transmission. It's old-school muscle updated for the modern age, big displacement, forced induction, and enough torque to light up the tires through the first 3 gears if you're not careful. It's also heavy, tipping the scales at over 4,400 pounds, but the philosophy here is simple: put a massive engine in a big, intimidating coupe and let the driver figure out the rest. The BMW M8 competition, by contrast, is all about balance and control, though it's certainly not lacking in firepower. Its 4.4-liter twin-turbocharged V8 produces 617 horsepower and 553 pound-feet of torque, sent through an 8-speed automatic in BMW's MX Drive all-wheel drive system. This AWD setup can send power to all 4 wheels for maximum traction or bias it toward the rear for more playful handling. The M8 is lighter than the Challenger, though still no featherweight at about 4,295 pounds, but it makes up for that with a sophisticated launch control system, lightning quick shifts, and traction management that borders on witchcraft. As the two cars roll up to the starting line, the contrast couldn't be clearer. The Challenger sits menacingly, its wide-body stance and aggressive hood scoop making it look like it's ready to punch something. The BMW, on the other hand, is sleek and composed, its design flowing like a perfectly tailored suit hiding the fact that it's more than capable of violence when provoked. The flagman steps out, raises his arm, and the engines roar to life. The Hellcat's supercharger whines like an angry banshee over the deep bass of the exhaust, while the BMW's turbos whistle faintly beneath a sharp, mechanical growl. The lights go green, and both drivers slam the throttle. The Challenger's rear tires instantly struggle for grip, sending a plume of smoke into the night air as the big coupe lurches forward. The M8, meanwhile, hooks perfectly thanks to its AWD, shooting off the line with a clean, brutal efficiency that almost feels unfair. For the first 60 feet, the BMW opens a gap, its traction advantage making the difference. But then the Hellcat's monstrous torque comes into play. By the 8th mile mark, it's reeling the BMW in, the supercharged V8 hitting like a sledgehammer with every gear change. As they blast through the quarter mile, the BMW crosses first by a nose, just fractions of a second ahead. The timing slips confirm it. The M8 runs a blistering 10.9 seconds at 129 miles per hour, while the Challenger clocks in at 11.1 seconds at 131 miles per hour. The BMW's launch advantage gave it the win, but the Hellcat's higher trap speed hints at what it could do with better traction. The crowd cheers, some shaking their heads in disbelief that a luxury grand tourer just beat one of America's most feared muscle cars, while others nod knowingly. It's all about putting the power down. Next up is the Dodge Charger Hellcat versus the same BMW M8 competition. The Charger Hellcat shares the same heart as its Challenger sibling, the 6.2-liter supercharged Hemi with 717 horsepower, but it's wrapped in a four-door sedan body. This makes it slightly heavier than the Challenger, weighing in at around 4,586 pounds. On paper, that extra weight might be a disadvantage, but the Charger is surprisingly agile for its size, and like the Challenger, it's built for straight-line brutality. The key difference is that the Charger often surprises people. It's a family sedan that can outpace most sports cars. The BMW M8 lines up again. It's driver-confident but not cocky. After all, every race is different, and the Charger's longer wheelbase could help with stability and traction. The two cars idle at the line, the Charger's exhaust crackling with deep, irregular pops while the BMW's tone remains sharp and controlled. The crowd quiets down as the flagman raises his hand. Both drivers bring the revs up, the anticipation building like a coiled spring. The lights drop, and once again, the BMW leaps off the line like a sprinter at the sound of a gun. The Charger launches hard, but its rear wheels still struggle for grip, spinning just enough to lose precious tenths of a second. The BMW surges ahead, its AWD system delivering near-perfect acceleration. At the halfway mark, the Charger starts to find its stride, the HEMI's torque shoving it forward with relentless force. You can almost feel the ground shake as it gains speed. This time, the gap is a bit wider at the finish. The BMW takes it with a 10.8-second run at 130 miles per hour, while the Charger crosses in 11.2 seconds at 130 miles per hour. Once again, the BMW's launch control and AWD prove decisive, allowing it to put its power to the ground instantly, while the Hellcat has to fight for traction before it can unleash its full fury. But much like the Challenger, the Charger's trap speed shows that once it's moving, it's every bit as fast, if not faster, than the BMW. After both races, the debates start immediately among the crowd. Some argue that if the Hellcats had been equipped with drag radials or an all-wheel drive system, they would have crushed the BMW. Others point out that part of the beauty of a drag race is running the cars as they come from the factory, and in that respect, the BMW's technology and traction simply make it the better drag strip weapon in stock form. A few even suggest that the real story isn't about who crossed the line first, but how different the driving experiences are. The Hellcats are wild, loud, and visceral. They demand respect and attention, rewarding skillful throttle control with explosive acceleration. The M8, meanwhile, is a silent assassin. It goes about its business with almost clinical precision, turning staggering performance into something so smooth and controlled that it feels easy. It's a fascinating reminder that there's more than one way to build a fast car. The Dodge approach is to give you as much power as possible and let you wrestle with it. It's an experience that feels raw and unfiltered, like holding onto a raging bull. The BMW approach is to integrate performance into a complete package: power, traction, handling, and comfort all working together to deliver speed without drama. For some, the thrill of the Hellcat's tail-happy launches and supercharger scream will always win. For others, the M8's ability to demolish a drag race without breaking a sweat is the ultimate expression of performance. As the night wears on, a few grudge matches break out, rematches between the Challenger and the M8, this time with the Dodge wearing stickier tires. Suddenly, the playing field looks a lot more even. In one run, the Challenger hooks perfectly and rockets off the line, managing to hold the BMW at bay until the very end, where it takes the win by half a car length. The crowd erupts, and you can see the grin on the Dodge driver's face. It's not just about the numbers anymore, it's about proving a point. Similarly, the Charger gets another shot, and while it still loses by a hair in one race, it manages to tie the BMW in another, both crossing the quarter-mile in identical times. The airstrip is filled with the smell of burnt rubber, the sound of engines cooling, and the laughter of enthusiasts who know they've just witnessed something special. By the time the last cars roll away, the scoreboard may suggest the BMW M8 competition is the better drag car in stock form, but the story isn't that simple. What the races really showed is that performance is as much about philosophy as it is about horsepower. The Hellcats represent an unapologetic celebration of excess: big engines, big noise, big personality. The M8 represents precision and control, a demonstration of how far technology can push the limits of traction and acceleration. Neither is better, in the absolute sense, they just do things differently, and both are incredibly good at what they do. In the end, the true winner is the enthusiast who gets to experience both. There's something magical about the Hellcat's supercharger whine building as you bury the throttle, feeling the rear end squirm as you fight to keep it straight. And there's something equally intoxicating about the M8's flawless launches, the way it surges forward with no drama, just relentless speed. Each appeals to a different part of the soul, the part that craves chaos, and the part that craves perfection. And if you're lucky enough to be at a drag strip on a night like this, you realize you don't have to choose. You can appreciate both for what they are. Two incredible machines from opposite sides of the world, meeting in the middle for a quarter mile at a time. I can also make a more cinematic and adrenaline-filled version of this script with extra sensory details and drag racing commentary style if you want it to sound even more like a YouTube voiceover script. Would you like me to do that next?